everybody, this is Yangmee with the Colorado Dragon Boat Film Festival, and I am here with Tshaslij Productions. And I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor and have you give a little bit of a bio of yourself, your name, and what got you into the filmmaking industry, and where are you going from here?
Hello, hi everybody. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here to talk with you guys. My name is Tshaslij Pro, or my real name is Chou Xiong. I am the co-founder of Tshaslij Production. And a little bio about myself, I am a storyteller. And so I do a little bit of everything. Some of the major roles that I usually participate in while making a film is usually I write, I direct, and I'm also the editor. Those are the three of the main roles that I personally foresee and a lot of times execute myself. And so aside from storytelling, what do I see moving on forward with Tshaslij Production? Well, what we want to do with filmmaking is we want to tell our Hmong stories. And I personally believe that we have a beautiful culture, deep-rooted histories, and we have wonderful stories. And so I really wanted to share those stories that we have with everybody. And so it is complicated and it is hard right now at the moment due to funding and budgeting. But I think if we keep it up and we just keep it consistent, we will hopefully attract a lot of attention and support from the community to see that these stories that we're making are very valuable.
No, thank you. And what I want to know, and I'm very curious because you are the writer, the director, and you even act in some of your movies as well. So, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face on a day-to-day basis working in all those different roles?
uh, Challenges. There is a lot of challenges that I face personally, that the team face together also. I think it varies. The challenges really varies. I think one of the hardest that I can remember is probably up there with some of the hardest challenges that I would consider is being persistent. I think that's really hard. It's hard to be persistent, especially when you're juggling a lot of roles, and especially you don't have the finance to really hire a lot of people to be on set, to write, to be on set, to edit, all these things. And so we're very limited in resource. And so one of the biggest challenges is to be persistent, to be consistent, to get things done. You have to really be self-motivated, especially when you're taking on a lot of roles, because it does burn you out and you will get very fatigued. And at times, if a lot of time, very often, it's really discouraging. It's really discouraging because it's really painful, the struggles, the burning the midnight oil, and oh my gosh, it's just when the project is done, people say congratulations on your success, and I say, what success? I'm recovering. So hopefully that gave you guys a little idea of how difficult it could be in a small production, working and wearing many hats. And again, struggle wise, it varies collectively. We recently made a film called Taudas, and one of the struggle there was we found out that we were filming in a haunted house, an actual haunted house, filming a horror short film. And so, that just kind of goes to show how different the struggles are compared to, producing the project, a struggle as a collective team, the weather and mosquitoes, all the way down to just, time away from family is a struggle to make these projects done. So that's kind of like the whole spectrum, a little bit here and there of what kind of struggle that we go through.
Yeah, it sounds just almost like an entrepreneur's life. Owning a business, running it, you kind of have to wear all the hats at the very beginning. until later when your business kind of grows a little bit. So totally understandable, and thank you for that. And I do have a few more questions. I really want to know, how did you get started? What sparked the idea of really becoming the film director and actor? If you can tell me a little bit more about your career path and what really led you to your role today. Because like you said, you're a storyteller. You could have written books, you could have been a speaker, but you chose the film industry, and you chose visualizing your storytelling in videos.
So how I got started, I saw a a film called "In the End," and it just captures me how creative that film is, because it takes you on twists and turns, and there are things that you don't expect that shows up, and I just love the creativity of it. And so a lot of my project kind of takes on that format of the unexpected twist and all these things. If you guys seen the film, and so I don't see a lot of those elements in filmmaking. Even in Hollywood made film, I feel that they lack a lot of stories. And so to me, I personally believe that it doesn't matter how you tell it. I think the meat of it is still telling a story. You're still conveying a message, a lesson, something that you find meaningful and valuable to the audience. And so when I made my film, I made it story driven, regardless of the resources. Even though we don't have a lot, I try not to have that limit me in terms of telling my stories. And so again, I became interested in making film visual because I feel like during my time, I love movies. In the 90s, movies was really big. And if anything, I believe that visual storytelling is, to me, I feel like it's just more impactful because you see it, you hear it, and all these things, and it captures your attention. And so growing up in my generation, we watch a lot of movies, and I can personally relate to having a great time with films. And so that's why I chose that media to tell my story, because I just enjoy it that much. And also from that, short film that I've seen that I thought was really creative. And so it piloted within me a story, and I wrote a story called The Crush. It was a long time ago. It was more like a parody to that one, because I really wanted to I really wanted to bounce off of something that's already been done and just use it more as a platform to kind of build my skills. So when we're starting out, I use that film as a way to learn. And then the one that you guys are going to watch, which is Bury Me or She Comes at Night, that was when I got a little better. So, you grow progressively. And what was the last part of your question again?
Oh no, just asking what really led you to choosing a role in filmmaking, which I think you already answered
Oh,
perfectly.
okay.
Yeah,
Thank
and you
you.
provided all that information. No, thank you so much for sharing. It's always
I thought
interesting to see what sparked, the
Mhm.
passion in people to do the things that they do. Because there is, 5 or 10 other paths that you could have chosen, but you chose specifically film and your story and how you were passionate about movies. I'm not a huge movie person, but my husband is. Like, he will read all the reviews before we go watch one. Like, he will be the one choosing a movie for us. Like, I'll sit there and it will take me forever to choose one, but he is a big moviegoer. And to see that type of passion and wanting to see your film on the big screen to convey that story, it's amazing, especially because you have to put in so much work and persistence into that as well, it's very inspirational.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys came to the theater in
Yes.
Colorado?
I did. We did. Yes. When it
Awesome.
came out, I was like, yes, I have to go. And so I met a couple of the crew there, and then we were watching. And I was just telling Sarah them earlier. I remember the part where the second short video where it was towards the end, and she was in the room. And not to give a spoiler alert for anybody, but I just remembered the audience. You can hear people getting ready and closing their eyes and trying to figure out what's going on next, and then all you hear is like a huge scream and then a huge laugh, which was hilarious. So it was super fun. It was
Oh, thank
actually
you.
really nice because in Colorado, there's really not many Hmong events here. People who usually move in here from Minnesota or California or Wisconsin, it's usually a culture shock when
Mhm.
they come here to find that the Hmong community here is a little bit, it's a lot more separated than it is, and you rarely run into people. I remember a long time ago, I went up to Minnesota for, it was so long ago, gosh, I think it was called the Hmong Lu Hmong Project up in
Mhm.
Minnesota. It was about 16 years ago. And every single car that I saw was a Hmong person in it. And they were blasting Hmong music, and everywhere you went, you saw Hmong people. Very different down here, where you rarely see each other at public places. You usually see each other more at like family events and family get-togethers, and then that once a year when we do the Hmong New Year's down here in Colorado. But yes, thank you so much for doing that. That was actually a nice experience to kind of see all the other Hmong community members come together to watch a movie that was in your language. So that was really inspiring, and it was also very fun.
Thank you. I wanted to give credit to my auntie Tracy down there. She was the one that decided that she would accept the film and take the initiative to actually show it down there. So we
Nice.
worked with the theater, but at the same time, she was, she was the Cadillac that made it happen. So I just want to give a shout out to Auntie Tracy. Thank you.
Oh, she's your auntie. I did not know that. Yes, thank you, Auntie Tracy, for helping us get that video out. That was fun. Thank you. And then a couple more questions here. I want to gear some questions towards aspiring film directors and actors. So, what do you wish that you would have known when you were starting out in this career? When you started doing your first video, or when you started writing down your stories and you said, hey, I'm going to start this production and I'm going to go ahead and start making movies?
So to me, um, there is much to learn, but if there's one thing that I wish I would have knew, um, I would I would honestly I mean even right now, I'm still looking for connections. It would have been it would have been great if I started out even with it would have been great to start out with an existing production. So I would say that. I would say I would it would have been great to start out volunteering my time, to learn more about the process itself. When I started out, I took a lot of time to really make a lot of mistakes and learn by myself. And my first film took 3 years, and it took me 3 years to learn something that I could have probably have learned a lot quicker if I was just to have volunteer and be a part of a team. And I tried that, but I guess in our Hmong community, we don't really have a lot of people that are making film. And so, I when I started out, I also have a very limited mindset in a way where, I feel very uh I feel very scared going out there to ask bigger productions to be a part of them, because I felt that in a case they would not want me. So I have this kind of sense of insignificantness starting out, thinking that I might just be in the way, and that confidence gradually built up, as I get better and better and I can contribute more on set. But I would say that if you start out, it would be great to start out with a production team that's already making film, because there is a lot going on in filmmaking that you can learn a lot from, that people already have learned from, made mistakes, and can probably help you move along quicker in your process. And so I took a long time dwelling and learning and making my own mistakes that have already been made already, that I could have learned from. And
Mm,
even right now at the moment, uh, I, I still myself, I still need to learn to work with other people. And
mm,
that's something that's hard for me. Dokuna, for me, it's hard because, I feel like there isn't a lot of people out there making movies. I'm sure there is a lot of people, but from my community where I'm at, we're very limited in terms of well, there's a lot of Hmong people over here, but we and maybe one or two other are the only production or team that are making any films at all.
mm.
And yeah, and I think that's probably about it. I'm sure there's a lot of other things that are not in my mind right now that I wished, but I would say, uh, volunteer your time, go out there if you want to know if this is something you want to do, be a part of a team that's already doing it already, and you will learn a lot from there, and you wouldn't be making a lot of your own mistakes. You will eventually later on, but the basics are there for you to build upon.
Mhm. No, that's very
That's
true.
something I
Thank you
can
so
think of.
much for
Yeah.
sharing. No, that's perfect. Thank you. And you brought up a really good point. I think it's a part of Asian values in general, where you have to kind of have everything in order first in order for you to kind of get into something like that. So volunteering isn't really at the forefront of our minds because you think that you already have to have all these titles, credits, or whatever you need in order to volunteer to even be a part of that big production. And I just want to shout out to Colorado Dragon Boat as well. I attended their emerging leaders program recently, and that program it's a leadership program specifically for people of in the AAPI community, and it talks specifically about Asian values and how we can still hold on to those, but then how we can also navigate it in the Western, American culture, and be able to increase our influence and be able to go ahead and help us progress in our career as well. It was amazing, a blessing, but that is very true. That is something that I think personally a lot of us need to learn too, is networking. That's what I'm really passionate about. And that's something that I've learned to do and I just love to do. If I always give a disclosure, whenever you meet me, you have to give me at least 30 minutes or an hour because I will talk your ears off and I will learn everything that I can about you because I just love learning about people. So thank you so much for that. That is a very good synopsis of what you've gone through and encouragement too. Which leads me to my next and final question for you, which is any words of encouragement for aspiring film directors and actors? I know that you talked about persistence and you gave advice about starting off with a production already to get that knowledge and that experience, but especially in the mom community, because we don't really have a lot of film directors or actors. They're just starting to now slowly surface and bubble up. What would you say to them to keep going, and especially women actors and singers? Because I'm pretty sure you've probably noticed this as well, and we talked about it in the mom music video Q&A too, that the women actors, actresses, and singers usually stops their career after they get married to tend to family, or to tend to that family role once they go and live with their husband's side of the family. So just a little bit of encouragement, or what you would say to anybody aspiring to go ahead and go that route in the same career.
I would say it is very challenging, especially with the cultural expectation also for women. And when I'll just give an example, when we cast for our first film, The Crush, we went through about 8 female leads because she has to be a ghost. And so during the time we we're filming that one, there was this cultural barrier where you girls shouldn't play a ghost, or if you do, something bad might happen to you, spiritually, right?
Mhm.
And so there's a lot of cultural barriers that prevent especially female actors to work with us. And you stated that after they get married, they're expected to tend to the family and do all these things, and so you kind of see less of them doing what they love to do. And so it's about the same with film also, in our community, with the mindset that our community kind of has. These type of career are not recommended. Again, right, like an Asian family, they want you to become a doctor, a lawyer, or something that
Mhm.
uh, make a lot of money, right? And so these things are not recommended. When I started out making film, my mom was like, "No, don't do it. You can't make money from it." And I respect her views from it. She's only looking out for the best of me. But for some reason, sometimes, like I said, it's not you having the passion. The passion has you,
Mhm.
and so it drags you to do what you need to do to get it done. Um, But if I was to say, give any advice for those that are starting out, I would say do what you love, because that's what I did. That's how I was able to make these projects. When I was doing it, I do have a family also. I had to put food on the table. There was a lot that I had to do. This whatever I'm doing making film here was not paying for the rent. Like I said, if love could pay for rent, that would be wonderful. My passion would probably pay for everything. But love
Mhm.
doesn't, and money does in this society. And so I have to juggle a lot of things on the side while working on my film. And I just want you guys out there starting out to understand that if that's your situation, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not alone. You don't have to dip your toe full time into doing this yet. As it goes on, and maybe you might find something else better, or you might figure that you want to do it full time. I think that's totally fine. But I would say, at least give it a try if you believe this is something that you may be interested in. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. If it doesn't work out for you, hey, you could check it off. This is one thing that didn't work for me. You're making progress in terms of what you want to do. And so, for those that do want to get into the field that wants to sustain themselves here, I would say right now, even for me, I can only talk from my experience. I can't really generalize any knowledge. So this is what works for me. This is how it happened for me. I'm not really making any money here at the moment. Just let you guys know that also. If you're here for the money, I would say that it's going to be really discouraging. And a lot of times, if that's what you're here for, you're not gonna produce anything worth your time. So be here because you have a story to tell, because you love helping others tell their story, because you want to be a part of something bigger. You want to be a part of something that you can be proud of. And I think it's really just a love for the art. And how do you know if you love the art? If you find yourself mindlessly being a part of it, just duking it away, helping other people, telling their stories, doing it for free, then you can kind of sense in yourself that this is something that you want to create. And we love creating. Everybody loves to create. Whether it's something simple or something more complicated or something you have to do alone or with a team. I would say keep that creation spirit alive and do it because you love it. And life is hard and it's not easy. It's not meant to be easy. It's meant to challenge you. And if your life is challenging, just know that it's not meant to be easy. Just know that you're growing. So
Mhm.
everything you do, it is progress. And don't give up if you love doing it. Just keep working at it. And if you find something else better to do, I think that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But to me right now at the moment, even me myself, I'm questioning to see if I want to stay here and keep producing film. That's just me myself. But ultimately, it boils down to, do I want to do it? Do I see it as a leisure activity in which I enjoy doing? And if I do, you know, if the money is not there and I do, hey, I do, it's fine. I'm not going to be here forever. If the money is there, hey, it's a byproduct of what I love doing. And I think it's so hard. Whatever you do in life, if you want to try to succeed, it is so hard that I don't think you could ever succeed at anything you don't love doing.
Mhm.
And so if you're going to succeed in something, your best bet is something that you love doing and you put all your effort and time and energy into, and you don't expect anything out from it.
Oh, thank you. Very inspiring words, and thank you for addressing and even showcasing the issue with the women actors as well. I think it's very important that those discussions come to light, and it's something that we can conversate about in any conversation. And just really curious, last thing, I want to go ahead and have you tell our viewers what the word Tshaslij means and why you chose that for the name of your production.
So Tshaslij in our language means to have many talents. And so I liked it, that name, because I had a friend, his name was Charlie, and I never knew his Hmong name. And when he says Hmong name was Tshaslij, I was like, whoa, that was pretty cool. His English name was Charlie, his Hmong name was Tshaslij. And during that time when I was starting out, 2010, 2011, Charlie wasn't a often used name. And so I just find it pretty cool. And the meaning of it means to have many talents, kind of be the jack of all trades, or to be skillful and creative in many things. And so when I embark on this journey, I notice I have to do many things creatively, And so I figure it's a perfect name. I love the pronunciation of it. I love the meaning of it also. And so I name it Tshaslij Production, and everybody that's in a production, they have a little skill of their own to contribute to the production. So it's more of like a collective whole that is Tshaslij.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Again, everybody, this is Yangmee with Colorado Dragon Boat Films Festival, and we have Chou here with Tshaslij Productions. Please like and follow their page, see what their upcoming movies and projects are, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Have a great night, everybody.